Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Reinvented Life Network. I'm Pamela Chanel David, founder of the Reinvented Life Network and Reinvented Life Show. And it's good to have you here just to reinvent. I am excited to introduce you to my guest today. She has been a guest on my show and an integral part of my show, as she's the executive producer of AMP2 TV in Florida. Let's welcome Dawn Graubert, who runs all the production for this show. So we have you and your outstanding partner, Freddie Santori, to thank for this show. And I'm excited because it's just us girls today talking about health. And I think so many people, particularly around the holidays now, need to be reminded of how do we keep our health front and forward. So welcome, Dawn, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you back on air and to be your guest. It's been a long time.
It surely has. And, I thought it was so important to really just hit this subject dead on because it's a time of friends and family, people going places, or the opposite, people feeling that they have nothing to do during the holidays. And so it's a time for really mixed emotions. And I believe at the core of having good health is not just physical health, but emotional health. And it starts with how, as women, are we taking care of ourselves, particularly during this time?
Well, I think what's so important is the demographic that your show reaches and the demographic that we all are. Is it's not just us as a single woman. There's family, whether it's a spouse, kids, grandkids. So doing for you becomes almost secondary, third, fourth, whatever it is. We push it down until our bodies just tell us we can't push it down anymore. And I think being of this age and this generation is we have to be mindful of it, which is really hard because you're the Reinvented Life Show and you're pushing with business and you're pushing for growth and change, and you want to intellectually push because your heart and soul says push, but our bodies sometimes say, I can't push so much. And it's this disconnect that makes it a little bit more difficult.
It's so true. And our physical manifestation of what's happening with us is reflective of emotionally what's happening with us. So, we tend to, as women, again, generalization, but we tend to think, as you're saying, everyone else first before ourselves. And there are so many other people in our lives that if we just treated ourselves as well as we treated them, we'd be a lot better off.
I don't think it's intentional neglect. I just think there's so many things that we want to do. You want to visit your parents and you want to visit your kids, and I want to visit my granddaughter, and I need to go get my nails done, and whatever else it is that you want to get it all done on those days that you're not working. But sometimes your body just says you need to rest.
Yeah, and the what you're bringing up as far as rest goes is critical. I mean, I have had so many health challenges over the last going on 2 years, but in particularly the last year. And I have learned to value rest like never before. That reset, and when we talk about reinventing, Every hour that you give your body of rest, you're giving it a chance to heal. And again, it may not be intentional about ignoring ourselves, but if we don't give ourselves that chance to heal and we keep going, like the ever ready bunnies, unfortunately, it takes from the healing time. And so it starts building up on each other.
It's funny. I had surgery about a month ago, and I knew post surgical, I took time off of the studio, and I fell asleep on the couch outside napping like on Saturday. And I woke up. You wake up and you think, what do I have to do? And I actually woke up and said, there is nothing I have to do. I have to do this. And it was the strangest feeling to wrap my head around it for that moment in time of it's safe to go back to sleep and rest because literally that's all you can do. But we don't do it enough because right back at it we go.
And we haven't equated, we're so aligned with taking action and doing the things that we tend to forget. Again, I'm generalizing on women, but it seems to hold true. We tend to forget that it's not about doing the things that we've been conditioned to. It's about being. And I always say we're not human doings, we're human beings. So being in a state of rest or being sure that we're intentional about how our outlook is, what we're eating, how we're resting, all of those wonderful things we can do to help our body, we forget that those are actually states of being.
And I'm also finding, Chanel, I think the older I get and the more women that we surround ourselves with, the more important it is to be authentic and transparent and let people know, especially with the platforms that we have, that it's not all perfect on the other side of the camera, that we're all going through something. And when you just share and they look and they say, wow, you don't mind sharing that personal information, I feel it's important to share somewhat to let people know that they're not alone. Now, everyone's going through something, whether it's the loss of a family member or stress of something else or a physical change, because everyone's going through it. And I feel to be transparent helps everyone realize that we're all just human. We're all just women going through the same things.
It's so true. I'm sitting here. You're in Florida. I'm in California, looking like a perfect conversation. Yeah. Yet you are less than a month and a half out from a major surgery. I, without the assistance of a walker, have lost due to a disease, an insidious disease, my ability to walk right now without a walker. So it's sitting here looking perfect. But as you say, on the other side of things, people don't realize sometimes the physical pain or the emotional pain or whatever it is that we're going through. And that is so key for people to know so they don't feel alone.
It's true. And I think a lot of it is also, it's mindset. It's giving yourself the grace, which they're all kind of laugh when I say that I don't do, to give your body time to heal. Because I had the surgery and thankfully everything's fine. And the doctor makes it sound, because he is a surgeon, he's fantastic. We do this, and this, and you'll be okay. And I am, and I was. But it takes time, and your body changes, your weight changes, your fluid retention changes. But for me, I want to get back to doing and looking like I looked 24 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that way. It's been a change. It's been an evolution of every day of something else. But they don't tell you that because everybody's different. There are some people that bounce back faster than others. There are some people that say that it takes them 6 months to get back to feeling the way they feel. Everyone's different. So it's a journey that you have to go on, and definitely give yourself some grace. And I'm not so good at doing what I would tell other people to do.
Well, exactly. I mean, having that patience, for myself, right. It mirrors what you're saying. Having the patience of going from a few years ago, even though I had a walk part of it, getting in a half marathon to barely being able sometimes to walk across a room with a walker, or being at a family event or out and about and having to sit in a wheelchair, it it requires a acceptance level, a patience level, that it can't turn around tomorrow. And of course, I'm so optimistic and so visionary, and I will gain my ability to walk again. I know it. But that patience of not having it happen tomorrow is difficult.
And that's physical, and then there's the intellectual, emotional side. But so many people, you've helped so many people, you've coached them through changes in life. And this, I know it sounds simple, this is another change in life. But showing up for yourself, just as if a client said to you, Chanel, this is what I'm going through, what you would say to them, you should say the same thing back to yourself. You should be as kind to yourself as you would be to somebody that you're helping out.
Well, thank you. I mean, it is really, as you know, my passion in life, and pride myself on how fluid I can help people transform their lives. And I appreciate the gift that I have. I'm aware of it, and I know how special it is when I work with my clients, even on their businesses, let alone their personal lives, to help transform their lives so that there's a long term transformation and embracing change to make that happen. It's not easy for
And
people, but
it's interesting because women's health is something, the hormones that everyone laughs about. My daughter bought me an angry uterus, a crocheted little token.
yeah.
And everyone around here is laughing because I don't know why she's angry. Mine wasn't angry, but it is what it is. You need to acknowledge your body for doing what it did. And after I had the certain, before I said, I thanked her for 2 beautiful children and a beautiful life and everything that she gave me. And it's time to move on and now do the grandma thing. But the emotions and the hormones of everything, it changes. And as we age and our temperament changes and our hormones change, I think men laugh because they're, oh, they're hormonal again. But it's just part of who we are. The sensitive side, the frustrated side, it becomes a balance.
Yeah, and the balance is interesting because the balance, and I've worked with a lot of clients on this recently. I'm actually excited because, as kind of a sequel to the Reinvented Life, I have a new goal, which is the receiving life.
Ah,
And I think the balance that we all have to embrace is, again, maybe stereotypical, but women tend to live in and from that adage of it's better to give than to receive. And
isn't that
yet,
funny? But I think it's generational because we're from the same generation and different things. We got married at a certain age. We had our children at a different age. And I'm so fortunate that the crew that we work with, it's a whole nother generation. And I watch these women, these young girls, step into their power of their career path, of doing for them and making decisions, not in their 20s. Like I got married when I was 22. I had my kids at 25. Totally different. They think that's crazy. They couldn't even imagine it. So they're really stepping up into their power, the younger generation, and saying, you know what, it's my time, as well as the guys get to do their time. And I think that's a blessing for them.
it's completely a blessing. My hope for the younger generation, my own children included in that same age range, is that they have a sense of doing what feels best for them rather than some undue expectation that they have to do X, Y, and Z. And it goes back to the willingness to be vulnerable, to receive, to be willing to take a step back and know that, even for myself, it's my profession to actually help people. But the vulnerability is so important that I need help too. And asking for help and being willing to receive, it's difficult. If it's difficult for me, I know it's difficult for a lot of people. But I feel like that's a ticket to better health, is to adequately know at any given time, if you have a limitation, what you need help with. It has to be a learned capacity that we don't naturally have.
Do you find it's changing the narrative? Because no one told us that you have to get married at this point in time. You have to have kids. You have to have the 2.5 children, the white picket fence. No one said, Chanel, this is what you have to do. But yet we chose that narrative for whatever reason we chose to do it. And I think it's culturally, it's societal norms, changing that conversation in our minds and in society to say, you know what, you can be and do, and it's okay to put you first. It's that oxygen mask of doing for you, which it sounds so funny because on an airplane, I don't even know if I would do that. Like, heaven forbid, I was with my kids and my grandkids. Rest assured that oxygen mask would go on them before it would go on me. It just, I can't even imagine not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's reflective of this generation is looking, this up and coming generation is looking at our generation and seeing that things have shifted. Things have changed so much since the generation of our parents and our grandparents that we just, like you said, there was no manual handed out.
Right.
We just kind of naturally adopted. Yet, I think this generation is seeing, whether it's economic changes, connection changes, internet changes, whatever, and it all contributes, that things are so different, their lives are becoming very different. And that is a very positive thing that they're not necessarily falling into as a generation just because the one before them did it a certain way. They don't need to. I actually love that.
And the other thing is the hormone replacement therapy, the HRT now, whatever side of the fence they are on, science has changed their outlook on it. What came out in the 60s that was deemed one way has now finally come out and said, we may have gotten that research wrong. And as women, just do your research. Choose whatever path you want to choose after menopause or perimenopause. But at least the science is now starting to look at women's health a little bit differently, as opposed to just don't do it. Because all those men that say don't do it aren't feeling what we're feeling in our bodies of not doing it or finding another comfortable way to get through the next stage in life.
Yeah, exactly right. And as the science keeps evolving, there's going to be more and more recognition that we are different sexes, and therefore the needs, hormonal needs and other needs of our bodies are different. So it's not a one size fits all. And the reason that I think health is so important to keep front of mind is, again, we don't have any manual for it. We don't have any check engine light for it like we do in our cars. We have to be so in tune with our bodies that the moment we detect something that doesn't feel exactly as it should, we have to get it checked out. And when we don't, because we may be afraid of what we hear, that pendulum starts rolling downhill.
And the same holds true for men. As men age, their hormones have to shift. Their bodies feel different sugar indexes, diabetes, cholesterol, all of those change for them as well, and I don't think even that gets addressed. So it's not just women's health issues that aren't being addressed. Men don't address their health issues as well. I think everything gets pushed under the carpet because we think we're 25 or 35 and we're going to be fine. We don't want to deal with that aging process, but everyone's going through something.
Oh, most definitely. I just love, though, that we're, as you were saying, getting more and more in tune to what's beneficial for women's health, what's beneficial for men's health. Some of the things are the same. Some of the procedures or medications or anything would be the same, but there can be differences. And so it's exploring those differences, not just in Western medicine, but sometimes the combination of Western and Eastern medicine practices.
And I was going to ask you about that because part of the Reinvented Life Network, you had Sue Kostick, the host of Hello, Your Health is Calling. Such a phenomenal program, and her knowledge base and the programs and the different nutraceuticals that she works with are just phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that is such an integral part of the Reinvented Life. I'm hoping that that show we can resurrect, because as you say, the nutraceuticals and the herbal supplements and the alternatives, because there are wonderful medications out there that we've all benefited from in Western medicine. But if you combine that with Eastern medicine, again, both for men and women, that combination is such a bigger winning combination. And it is so important that people realize it doesn't have to be an either or. It can be a combination, finding for each individual what health combination works most effectively.
And it makes a huge difference. And now with all social media and all these deep fakes of different supplements and different companies that you think look so great because this celebrity endorsed it and that doctor endorsed it, you're realizing that a lot of this is not true. So it really takes having that authentic connection, that go-to person that have tried the products, that rep the products, that know the science behind the products before even trying it. And we all get sucked into that hole of the quick fix. But there really is no quick fix. It's really it took us this long in our lives to get where we are. It may take us a little bit longer to get out of where we are.
Well, exactly right. And the other thing to think about is as we get older, we tend to accept more things of just maybe part of the aging process, or this is because we're getting older, rather than looking at what's at the root. And what I love about Hello, Your Health is Calling, Sue Kostick's show, is that what she does and her practice does is looks at the root of what is actually causing something in one's body not to work as efficiently, rather than just accepting, oh, I'm getting older. Oh, it's okay to feel tired. Oh, it's okay not to X, Y, or Z. And oftentimes we actually dismiss some things that actually could help us a lot, but we just dismiss them as, well, you're getting older, so it's just the way it is.
And I think you have to know your body. When I was first diagnosed with thyroid disease, I knew my symptoms, and I would go doctor to doctor, and they went, nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Your labs are normal. And I'm thinking, but I was throwing telephones away and paychecks away and losing things. So I'm thinking, this is crazy. I'm in my late 30s, early 40s, and my mind is just not where it needs to be. And I was swelling up, and all my labs came back. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. If you don't know and trust your body to be the advocate for yourself, you're not going to keep going. And I kept going until I found a temporizing solution, until they finally realized what it was. But it took over 2 years to figure out what that diagnosis was. No matter what age, you have to be the advocate. Even if someone's like, oh, you're a hypochondriac, there's nothing wrong with you. If you feel your body is not right, do your due diligence and just check it out. Get a second opinion. I mean, you know what you've been going through.
Exactly. I've gone to, probably in 2 years, 9 or 10, I've kind of lost track, different medical providers, doctors, every specialist. I've gone through, I can't even tell you the amount of tests, the MRIs and the CT scans and the x-rays and just everything. And oftentimes just to get to the point of rule that out, rule that out, rule that out, and don't get to anything concrete. So again, it's important, this advocacy that you talk about, that I know in the Reinvented Life we talk about, is part of reinvention, is getting really realistic with what's happening. And if something you get scared about that you hear or doesn't sound right, or in whatever it is, I encourage people to really explore what's at that root. What is at the root causing, in my case, the nerve damage that's so severe in the motor and sensory nerves that it prohibits me to. It's people have, unfortunately, this, and mine fortunately isn't, but in their brains, and there are all sorts of different systems in their bodies. And it's so hard to predict what may happen in the future.
So you got to enjoy what you have when you have it, right? But part of it, I think, is also the emotional mindset of what it changes in relationships, whether it's your kids, your spouse, your partner. When you're going through something physical, you either don't want to complain or you're pushing through it on the outside, but when you get home, you're tired, you don't want to talk about it, and they may not understand what that's like. So as you would say, do you have those open conversations, which you probably should, or do you just say, you know what, I'm tired of having these honest conversations because nothing's changing? And I think that's where what you do as the coaching comes in, to figuring out when to have those conversations, when not to, or do you always?
Oh, I think it's so important. It's part of being realistic. And, you know, for so long we tend to, and I think, again, this can be true for men or for women, but we tend to deny things, bury our heads, not want to really confront anything. And part of that is closing up. The best thing that one can do for themselves is, whether they have a partner, a best friend, a counselor, a coach, a coworker, whatever it is, that they have some trusting individuals around them, that they can be realistic about what they're going through, because it changes over time. And that change, again, change is such a scary word for people. You know, when I think about the Reinvented Life book and I put right on the front of it, we embrace change,
Yeah.
that's a scary thought for a lot of people. They tend to have a comfort staying in things that are familiar. So the being authentic, upfront, open to having conversations, it's essential.
And what's next for you in the Reinvented Life as we go into the holiday season? Do you think there's different approaches people should take to doing the traditional dinners and family gatherings, but you still need to be a little more sensitive to what you can handle?
You know, absolutely. This past week and a half, I've been reflecting on that since Thanksgiving. We have a traditional, very large gathering of Thanksgiving with my cousins. And this year, because of my limitations, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't prepare the foods. I couldn't get the table set. I couldn't do any of the traditions that make up this holiday that I love so much. But I'm so fortunate that all my children, I get emotional, I think about it, all my children took that over. And they had a Thanksgiving for 22 people
Wow.
prepared better than I've ever been able to. The four of them, my three children, my son's fiance, the four of them got together, cooked, set up, created floral displays. I mean, they did everything.
That's
And
amazing.
I think the amount of effort that one can put in is really at the forefront during the holidays. You ask if people should do things differently. I think if maintaining family and friend traditions is of importance, still do them, but recognize it may need to change a little, or you can't contribute as much. I sat in a wheelchair watching them do what I've always loved. And I had to become accepting of that. Again, the receiving of that help. It's very difficult when you are so used to being the one planning and doing,
You are giving me the goosebumps, but they're telling me we've got 1 minute, Chanel.
We do. I know we're wrapping up, and that's what I wanted to say is happy holidays to you. Thank you for being on here and helping me keep this topic of health front and forward. It's the major part of reinvention. And to our listeners and to our viewers, thanks for listening. I hope there's a nugget in here that can really spark something in you to be in gratitude, feel the blessings of this season, whatever it may be for you, appreciate what you have, and don't be afraid to reinvent your life. I'm Pamela Chanel David again, and I'm just glad to be able to share this information with you.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.